Hello and welcome back to another reaction. In this occasion, My Hero Academia Episode 3 Season 5. Yes, last time we got a glimpse of what is going on inside the head of Deku, and obviously that was the last scene. And I think this is a longer version of what we got in the last episode of the 4th season. I think now really we explore what was inside of that dream, what happened, and the possibility that is not just a dream, that is not just, oh, he just dreamed of this and my subconsciousness created all of this. No, actually what I'm thinking is the fact that the previous users of One for All are trying to communicate with Deku. That is what we saw in that. I'm pretty sure of that. So this is going to be very interesting. But not only that, we also saw how Endeavor wants to change for the better, obviously, because again, he is a great hero. I don't think there is a doubt in that. He is the second place, or was the second place, because All Might was just spectacular. There was nobody like All Might, and I don't think. Well, perhaps Deku. Yes, you're right. So yes, Deku is the possibility that is going to be the next All Might, for saying something like that, or is going to be even better than All Might. But yes, obviously that doesn't change the fact that Endeavor was a great hero. The situation that we knew before kind of obstruct our view from that fact, because yes, I count among the people that I really dislike Endeavor for the shitty parent that he really was. And I think still is a shitty parent. That he's trying to be better, yes, but I still think Endeavor is a very shitty parent. Perhaps your reasoning is something else. Perhaps he has improved because, he's trying to change, and that is something I can get behind. If they manage to do a correct, I don't know, redemption arc for Endeavor, I'm all behind that, because that could be exciting, that could be entertaining. And obviously, as long as Endeavor doesn't go scotch-free, that there needs to be consequences for his actions. As long as there are consequences, and as long as he's trying to change for the better, I am all for that. So yes, hopefully that is going to be the case. But yes, and we saw obviously the explanation behind the betrayal of Hawks. That was actually not a betrayal. Hawks is working with the government to bring down the League of Villains from the inside. So that is commendable too. It was completely weird after the first episode, or just the previous, well, not the previous, the extra scene in the first episode, that, yes, oh my god, that really got me by surprise. But anyway, I'm starting to talk way too much. Let me just quickly remind you that if you enjoy the content of the channel, please consider a subscription and turn notifications so you can get up to date with whatever we are doing with the channel. If you enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment so I know what you think about my reaction, the episode, or my commentary once you see it. Remember that in the description we got a link for my Twitter. If you want to follow me, is there. A link for the reaction, because YouTube doesn't like reactions. And of course, a link for my Patreon in case you want to see the uncut version of this. Anyway, yes, enough about that. Let's cut the presentation short and watch the episode, shall we? Okay, I'm back. I just watched a second time the third episode of the series of the 5th season. Now, the show is more connected to the opening, or to the tone of the opening, than we got in the previous 2 episodes. Again, for the things that we saw in those 2 episodes, it's very serious, very dangerous for the world of My Hero Academia. More above the comedy, or above the tone that the opening of this season is giving us. Very dark themes, very serious topics here and there, with a few moments of, relaxation in the previous episodes, but the majority of them are being very serious. Now we reach now we reach the third episode, and it's a more silly episode. Yes, we still got that serious moment, but after the opening and during this episode, obviously, it's just the complete switch of tone. It's just, yes, now it's happy. There are no bigger consequences of the action that could happen if they fail or if they succeed. If they succeed, they pass. If they fail, they don't pass. There is not much. There are no bigger consequences than that. And yeah, it's a more a tune with the tune of the opening. Saying that, and this is something I wanted to say from the last commentary, but I forgot. And yes, I really wrote it on my notes. The only ones during the vision, before going to the silly moments of the episode, during the vision we got two people that are clearly seen, are more humane, let's say, or more clearly close to a human, or how you look a human if you live in this universe, and that is Nana Shimura and the first wielder of One for All. Those are the ones who are the most clear. I don't know why is that. Perhaps because, well, All Might is the closest one, but since he's still alive, he cannot be, I don't know, with One for All. And then, of course, we got the Nana. I don't know, perhaps because it's the second close one, and she has more connection to the One for All. I'm not sure. And obviously, I think the first wielder is obvious because he is the first wielder. He is the one that is most connected with the rest, because the other three that are clearly seen, three or two. I think there are four who are clearly seen. Yeah, I think the other three. Yeah, let's say the other three. The other three are clearly seen. You can see the silhouette, you can see the factions, you can see everything of them. But you cannot see the true colors, let's say, because there you have a color that overwhelms the rest. One is red, the other one is purple, and the other one I don't remember, green, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in this one. But yes, you cannot see them as clearly as Nana, and of course as the first wielder of One for All. And the other two are a complete mess. They are black and just surrounding color, purple and red. I think those are the purple and red. But you cannot distinguish anything, because not even the eyes. You can only see yellow eyes, and that's it. You cannot see the form. You cannot see how big they are, how small they are. You know nothing of these two wielders. Literally nothing. At least with the other four, you kind of tell, okay, yeah, this is the form, this is the way they are, yada yada yada. With All Might, you don't need that, because you know All Might, and we have seen him in his prime, thanks to the flashbacks, and in this old age, thanks to, well, the current footage, let's say. So I am wondering why that is the case, why we cannot see the other two clearly, and why these other three are not as clearly seen. I don't know, I am still in doubt about those things. And now, let's move forward to another important topic. I honestly thought that the fact that Midoriya can see and communicate with the past wielders is because he is obviously, well, there must be another explanation, but I always thought, oh, he's the protagonist, that's why, because he is the protagonist of the anime. That is why he is able to communicate. But actually, the in-universe reason for that, I like it. It's because he was brainwashed by Shinso, and thanks to this being a very, I don't know, abnormal quirk, because we haven't met anybody with a similar quirk as Shinso. At least I don't think we have. That's why, and the special quirk that is One for All, they make this connection, and that's why he opened the world to the One for All, to the ninth wielder, in this case Midoriya. So I guess that is why Midoriya is able to communicate with the past wielders of One for All, because the gate was open thanks to the brainwashing of Shinso. And the other ones never were able to really communicate, just saw the memory, just saw the feelings, as Nana said, of the previous wielders, is because that door was still closed. But obviously the quirk of One for All is so special, let's say, that they can kind of infiltrate in the mind of the new wielder, but not that completely, and they just say in showing bits of their will, let's say, their feelings. And yeah, thanks to the brainwashing of Deku, he is able to communicate strongly with the previous users. I never thought about that until Deku himself mentioned that, because that is when you start to connect ideas. Oh, that makes sense. That is why Deku is able to do that. And I love when a show does that, because it never crosses your mind, but once you start to think about it, once that idea gets planted inside your head, it makes sense. Because obviously there are shows and there are movies in which there is a twist, and oh, this is the twist, but it doesn't make sense to you. No, it doesn't work like that because of this and that and that and that, yada yada yada. But no, actually the show, or for the show, it makes sense. And I like it. I really do like this idea of this door opening thanks to brainwashing, because the brain has to be open for the command, I guess. That is how I interpret everything. So yes, it's a fascinating point that they make in here. And yes, once you start to think about it, it makes a lot, and I mean a shit ton of sense. Anyway, moving on. Now we got the singularity, and this is something that some of you remind me, because yes, I completely forgot about that. And rewatching that 4th season episode, it helped me to remember that, so thank you so much. That yes, the singularity is the point in which quirks are going to become so powerful that nobody is going to be able to control it. Perhaps, yes, they're going to be amazingly more powerful than the previous ones, but let's take an example with Endeavor. His flames are so powerful, but I guess Shoto could become even more powerful than his own father with just the flames, with the flame side. Let's not put the freezing side into this. Just the flame side, I guess Shoto could potentially be more powerful than Endeavor just with the flame side, but it's going to reach a point if Shoto gets children or have children, and they have children, and you know the cycle of life, let's say, and it's going to reach a point in which the flames are going to be so powerful, so hot, that the user is not going to be able to use them, because he's going to burn himself and he's going to die thanks to this intense heat. So yes, it's going to be impossible for them to use it. Or the other way around, that the freezing side is going to be so cold that again, you are going to die because your body will not be able to withstand these freezing temperatures. So it's interesting, this singularity, because once you start to analyze, yeah, it makes sense. But I think the singularity here, and especially what we saw from the first wielder of One for All, is I don't think he's speaking about the rest of the world, the rest of the people that inhabits this alternative universe of Earth. I don't think he's speaking about that. I think he's speaking about the One for All quirk. Because, and this is something I watched the previous episode a couple of times, and I watched this one, and I start to analyze, I start to think. We know that Deku needs to prepare his body so he can take on the One for All. But what is going to happen if that strength is too much, even if you prepare your body? The human body has a limit of how much power he can wield, let's say, he can put. And after that, the muscles are not going to be able to withstand the energy and the power and all of that. And I guess that after Deku, if he passes on the power of one for all. Nobody, even at the peak of the human, physique, is going to be able to withstand the power. So my guess in here, my guess in here, and based on what we have seen before, what we have seen in this anime, is that probably Deku is going to be the last user, because if he tried to pass it on somebody else, that somebody else is going to die because his body won't be able to withstand the power of one for all. Because yes, this superhuman strength is going to end up destroying the muscles, or destroying, as we saw in the first episode, destroying the body of the people that wields it. Perhaps Deku is just on that limit, or just previously that limit, or above that limit, and perhaps he cannot reach the 100% because it's going to break him in that point. Because they say pass beyond the singularity point. So I guess that is why? Because he's going to be so powerful that he's going to destroy the body of the next user. In the moment, let's say Deku does the hair shed with somebody else, in the moment they eat the hairs, oh yeah, the power, it's going to explode. Even if that person trained for years just to withstand the power, is not going to be humanly possible to withstand the power of one for all. That is my guess about the singularity here. That is what I think the first user of one for all is talking about. That honestly is very, very interesting, and I want to see if that is a fact, or I'm just pulling the ideas out of my ass and it has nothing to do with what we are going to see in the future. I don't know. Again, it's just a simple theory, man. But it sounds very plausible if you think about it. It sounds like it could happen. Yeah, that's saying, oh yeah, Deku is going to be the last one. Oh, perhaps that is why he's going to become the greatest hero in the history of heroes, because nobody else can have the power of one for all. That is why we saw that so many times in previous openings. Oh, yeah, I think my theory is holding pretty strongly in this case. I think that is the case, that is way too powerful. So yeah, even with a quirk, I don't know, that enhances muscles, no, it's not going to be possible. Because yeah, that quirk, okay, no, it's just, okay, this is a wild theory, and before I go down into the rabbit hole, I'm going to move on. Because perhaps I'm just speaking out of my ass and nothing that I said makes sense. Anyway, moving on and to a more silly moment. Yes, we got our fight between Class 1A and Class 1B. Well, the beginning of the fight. And I thought initially that they were going to be all against all. But once you start to think about it, yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. When you start to think about it, yeah, what is going to be the point of all that? So a group of 4, yeah, it makes more sense. Yeah, it makes more sense. And yes, of course, they are divided in groups of 4, just random groups. There is no, oh, okay, the strongest ones or the weakest ones. No, it's just divided by, random. That's it. And we got a presentation of all the names of 1B class. I'm not going to even pretend that I'm going to memorize all those names, because it took me, I don't know, 2 seasons to memorize the majority of names in Class 1A. And I still forget some of their names in there. So I'm not going to even pretend. Unless they appear more often in the next 2 seasons, this one and the next one, I'm not going to memorize the names of 1 Class B. I will try my hardest, but I'm not going to guarantee anything. So we got our teams. Finally, okay, I'm going to shut up about that. We got our teams. The first team is obviously Kirishima, Kaminari, the animal guy, and of course Suyu. And now this is the first time I noticed, but it looks like the animal guy has a croc in his face. I know that this is something to increase the volume of his voice or something like that, but it looks like a croc, and once you start to see, yeah, there is not going back from that. Against Ibarra, that is the only name I'm going to memorize of this 1B team, the Beastman, because obviously his quirk, someone who put something in front of his eyes, oops, sorry, and of course the air guy that can project air and solidify it. And we got to see a little bit of that match. It seems interesting because Shinso is with class 1A in this match. So I am eager to see how they are going to use Shinso, how this is going to be resolved, because this is a pretty cool match, especially from what we saw in the first few seconds of it. So yes, the dangerous one for class 1A is obviously Kaminari, because he's probably the strongest quirk here, and obviously Shinso because he's a wild card, so we don't know what is he capable of. Now, the second team is obviously in this case Tokoyami, Momo, and Aoyama, and Hagakure. And just on the second viewing, I noticed that Hagakure was holding Dark Shadow. So yes, that is great, because I didn't notice Hagakure. That is a good thing, because she should be on notice. So kudos for that. She's doing an amazing job in that. And obviously against Mushroom girl, boy, I don't know, she looks like a girl and looks like my mushroom, but it's probably, I don't know. It's Kendo, obviously the one we know the most, I think. A completely black guy with white hair and manga. And I know his name just because the pure reference that his face is a manga page. That is why I remember his name. It's manga. That is probably the only class 1B name or new name that I'm going to remember easily, for obvious reasons. I want to see what is going to come out of these, especially because I am intrigued. I am intrigued in how they are going to work together, because they have to work together. And I think this is the first time we saw them work together. These four. Well, the other ones obviously, because the only ones we have seen work together of class 1B is Kendo and Tetsu. Those are the only ones we have seen work together. The other ones we have seen work with other people, but never together. Not this type of group. So I am eager to see what is going to happen with them. Then we have the third one, which is obviously Ojiro, Todoroki, Shoji, I think, the octopus man, and obviously Ida, who is apparently dabbing, or it looks like he's dabbing now that I see the image here, against Pony. Another easy name, because kind of related to, I don't know why, but I memorized her name quite easily thanks to the horns. I don't know why. I know Ponies doesn't have horns, but I related to them. A guy, he's using a helmet. A guy in the background that I don't know. This is completely, honestly, average. And obviously Tetsu, because come on, who doesn't know Tetsu? And I just noticed that he has the chemical symbol of iron, the F and E. So yeah, neat. And I want to see how they are going to relate, because I guess Todoroki has an advantage against Tetsu because he can hit him up and it's going to be unbearable for him. And he can break it if he applies heat and then applies cold. It's going to be an interesting match. And then we have our next match, the fourth one, which is obviously Sugarman, Zero, Jiro, and obviously Bakugo against a Lizardman, purple girl with green hair, another Joe that I remember, and Teapot. Again, don't ask me their names because I don't know. I don't remember the names. And honestly, I was too lazy to capture every single one of the 20 members of Class 1B. So yeah, I am not going to learn his names. Sorry if I'm offending you if you're a great fan of Class 1B. I'm sorry. But I'm not going to remember their names. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Sorry about that. Again, I want to see how Bakugo is going to try to dominate the other three. Because yeah, it's Bakugo. Come on, he doesn't have a fucking chill bone in his entire body. And we saw that in the first minutes of the presentation of this episode. But it's going to be interesting here. And the last one is going to be Mineta, Mina, Uraraka, and Midoriya. I mean, these two are destined to be together, man. Uraraka and Midoriya are... Come on, it's my OTP. They are the main ship in my taste, and they are going to be endgame. I said it, they are going to be canon, man. I mean, come on. That is just a screaming canon. Every interaction they have is a screaming canon. Especially in this one. Because Uraraka was jealous of Hatsume. But, and against obviously Monoma, again another easy name. And the other three, the red hat girl, I don't know, it looks like a scouter of Dragon Ball Z. And a white girl, boy, girl, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel so bad because I should be remembering this name, but I don't. And my brain is refusing to learn them because I'm terrible at names. I'm so sorry. But yes, and of course, yeah, I almost forgot that Shinso is with Monoma's team in this case. And we're going to have a rematch against Deku, and obviously Shinso is going to be against Deku in this one. I am very interested to see what is going to happen. Because again, according to my theory, the brainwashing of Shinso is what brought the connection between the One for All users, the previous users, and Deku. So I am interested to see this match too. For that obvious reason, what is going to come out of this match? Yeah, it's honestly really interesting to see. Really interesting to see all of these matches. Yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. It's going to be very exciting in this case to see all of that. And I cannot wait to see that. And again, this part of the episode is going to have a more relaxed tone than the previous one. It's going to be a more entertaining one, or at least that is what I interpret, because of the opening. Again, the opening did not match what we saw in the previous scenes of the previous episodes, but in this one, yeah, it matches better because there are no fatal consequences of failure, or there are not grandiose consequences of success. It's just kind of a grade. So yes, it's going to be a really interesting season, and I cannot wait to see that. Unfortunately, I have nothing else to say. I hope you enjoy it, and please let me just quickly remind you that if you enjoy the content of the channel, please consider a subscription. If you enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment so I know what you think about my reaction, the episode, or the commentary now that you have seen it. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description below, alongside with the reaction, because YouTube doesn't like reaction, and with my Patreon in case you want to see the uncut full reaction of this episode and much more. Anyway, yes, I think that's it. I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, I have nothing else to say, but thank you for your attention, and well, see you on the next one. Bye!
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, give it a like so the algorithm from YouTube will help me out. And check my other videos, share them, and also why not subscribe to my channel and join this community. And as always, I want to thank you for your attention, your likes, and even your dislikes, your comments, which is something I always look forward to read. And yeah, once more, thanks and see you on the next one.